To sew the hem, I have 2 rectangles put together, good to good, and I'm going to sew a standard seam, reversing at both ends, sewing on the 15, at one end only. So I should have a long piece of fabric sewn together, and I'm going to take it to the steamer and press this seam open and flat. Just before I press this seam open and flat, I'm going to trim half of it off. So I'll be left with about 3/4 of a centimeter for the seam. Then I'm going to lay it wrong side up, open that small seam now with my fingers, and press it open and flat. Flip it over and press it on the good side. Now I'm going to flip it wrong side up again, and I'm going to press over one long end, about a centimeter, slightly more than a centimeter. You can measure or eyeball, but I want it roughly about in the middle of the fabric. That noise you hear is just the boiler pulling water into it. Don't be alarmed when the steamer makes a loud noise. Now I'm going to press the other side so that those 2 fabrics are almost meeting, those 2 edges. And it's about 1.25 centimeters. Press it all the way so both edges are pressed, and now I'm going to press it once more in half so those 2 folded edges are now meeting. Watch your fingers, it's quite easy to get a steam burn. Press it all the way. If you've pressed it well, it will make it easier to sew. So now bring it to your machine. To sew the strap, it's very small and hard to see with the metal foot on. So I'm going to have the foot up, press the red button, remove that metal foot, put it in the bin so I don't lose it, and I'm going to put on a clear foot, which I got off the middle of the cart. Just line it up and snap it on. Threads in the back, and it's also so small I really can't put it at the 15. Instead, I'm going to put the open folded edge right at the inside edge of the foot. Make sure you have at least 1 centimeter of fabric underneath the foot. Put the needle down, and I'm going to try to sew very close to the edge. Stitch or 2, reverse back. So basically you want to sew the opening shut. And the reason that I trimmed in the middle of that seam is that now it's not so thick. It would be hard to sew if I had a wide seam there. So I trimmed it to reduce the bulk, but sometimes when you get to it, it can be still a little bit thick. You might want to grab the top end of it and pull it through a bit. Continue sewing, trying to keep it even. Because it's small, it's a little more challenging to keep it even. You'll have to really use your hand-eye coordination. Come to the end, reverse, put the needle and foot, cut those threads, and this will look better if you do take it back to the steamer now and press it open and flat.